I wonder if we're gonna get any more plot twists. Maybe just focus on what has already been set up. Yeah, I think that, but there's gotta be something with the Lost Colony. Yeah, RIP Space Communism. Libbed up John was the only one who could have got it done. There's gonna be 1,000 years of war after John dies. What about the stowaway? Did I forget that? No, he is confirmed real now. And he is... I don't know if he's the coyote. I'm very confused about the coyote, but so is everybody. But it seems like Hiroko is doing some fucking crazy shit in the Southern Hemisphere. Hiroko's out there with, like, her tentacles spreading around the world. She's got, like, a vigilante team of like, fucking babies. That's the thing. Hiroko's crazy, dude. Everyone else is gonna be immortal, and Hiroko's probably dead. And it's literally her grandchildren have a colony, and it's called the Lost Colony. I don't think Hiroko's even alive anymore, because everyone else who stayed on Mars had access to civilization, but they ran away. So there's a runaway colony hidden somewhere that everybody's like super... It's like they're like a secret society, literally. Yes. So I'm really excited to find out what they've been doing for the last 20 years. And it ain't her tentacles alone that are spread. She is spreading her seed. John just got accosted by the stowaway. The stowaway and a group of strange youths approached John in the middle of a dust storm, which is planet-wide. There's a planet-wide dust storm going on. It's like 2 years. It's gonna last for 2 years, but we're only like halfway through it right now. And John's traveling around being a super detective, and he got accosted by the stowaway, who may or may not be the coyote, but probably is. Also, but wait, wouldn't the coyote be older? Oh my god, it's probably just like the coyote's son. Anyways, they've got this whole mythology that is very mysterious. And John got accosted by a group of them. And then he found out that he scratched the face of one of them, and then he sent their DNA in to be analyzed, and then he found out that he's a dad. So, you know, him and Hiroko, as is Hiroko's way. And now John's a dad, and then John went somewhere. I don't remember where he is right now. But he's basically traveling all over the globe, interviewing people to find out who the terrorists are, who the eco-terrorists are, and then he had his first official assassination attempt last week. I'm pretty sure people are trying to kill him all the time because he's too libbed up. He's too dumb to live. But he had his first official assassination attempt. Like, they actually tried to just stab him. And he finally is like, oh my god, people are trying to kill me. I better solve this mystery. And then the FBI is here from Earth, aka the United Nations Department of Investigations. And John almost gets stabbed, assassinated, left out to die in the wasteland, foreshadowing, or, you know, reminiscent of how he actually dies. In the cold vacuum of near space. And the Unoma officials are there, and he just plays it off. They're like, oh my god, the seal was broken on the habitat. What do you think happened, John? And he's like, I have no idea. Anyways, I gotta go back to my room now. How many characters can you name off the top of your head without looking at the book? Damn, that's crazy. Yeah, John's just like, damn, that's crazy. I had nothing to do with that for sure. And now he's trying to figure out how to hide the evidence of his own assassination attempt. Because he wants to be the detective. He wants to be on the case. And he doesn't want the UN interfering in Martian affairs, which, like, valid. But yeah, anyways, this is why John ends up getting murdered. He's just in way over his head, which makes for great reading. Oh, as for how many characters can I name off the top of my head, I would love to try that, but not right now because it would take me like 10 minutes. And I need to start reading yesterday. Oh, and the reason you should all stick around is because he's finally going to go interview Arcady. So we finally get to see what Arcady's been up to for the last 2 decades. And if you're not interested in that, then I don't want you in my book club. Yes, John Boone is clearly an allegory for Trump. He wanted to talk to Arcady. A call determined that Arcady had finished... A call determined that Arcady had finished the gerontological treatment in Acheron with Nadia. AKA, Arcady and Nadia took the life vaccine against old age. Arcady? Or Arcody? Arcady. Isn't that what I'm saying? I'm saying Arcady. Arcady? Oh my god. It's even better. I'll just say Arcady faster. Arcady. Yeah, I can't change it now. It's unfortunate. Arcady said over the phone. Anyways, he had finished the gerontological treatment in Acheron with Nadia, however, and had gone up to Phobos. Arcady visits Phobos on a regular basis. Oh my god. Our king. He cares. Anyways, he wanted to talk to Arcady. A call determined that Arcady had finished the gerontological treatment in Acheron with Nadia, however, and had gone up to Phobos. John had still never visited the fast little moon. Why don't you come on up to see it? Arcady said over the phone. Better to talk in person, yes? Okay. He hadn't been in space since the landing from the Ares, 23 years before. And the familiar sensations of acceleration and weightlessness brought on an unexpected bout of nausea. He told Arcady about it as they docked with Phobos. And Arcady said, "It always used to happen to me, until I started drinking vodka right before takeoff." He had a long physiological explanation for this, but the details began to pull John back over the edge, and he cut him off. Arcady laughed. The gerontological treatment had given him its usual post-operative lift, and he had been a happy man to begin with. He didn't look like he would be sick again for 1,000 years. Stickney turned out to be a bustling little town. The crater's concrete dome, lined with the latest heavy-duty radiation proofing, and the floor of the crater terraced in concentric rings down to the bottom plaza. The rings alternated between parks and 2-storied buildings with gardens on their roofs. There were nets in the air for people who lost control of their leaps across the city, or took off by accident. Escape velocity was only 50 kilometers per hour, so it was almost possible to run right off the moon. Just under the dome foundation, John spotted a small version of the exterior circumnavigating train, running horizontally compared to the buildings of the town, and moving at a speed that returned its passengers to a sense of Martian gravity. It stopped 4 times a day to take people on. But if John took refuge in it, it would only delay his acclimation. So he went out to the guest room assigned to him, and miserably waited out the nausea. It seemed he was a planet dweller now, a Martian for good, so that leaving it was a pain. Ridiculous, but true. The next day he felt better, and Arcady took him on a tour of Phobos. The interior was honeycombed with tunnels, galleries, drifts, and several enormous open chambers, many of them still being enlarged, mined for water and fuel. Most of the interior tunnels inside the moon were smooth, functional tubes, but the interior rooms and some of the big galleries had been built according to Arcady's socio-architectural theories. And he showed John around some of these. Circular hallways, mixed work and recreation areas, terracing, etched metallic walls. All features had become standard during Mars' crater-oriented phase of construction, but of which Arcady was still proud. 3 of the little surface craters on the side opposite to Stickney had been domed with glass and filled with villages, which had a view of the planet rushing beneath them. Views never available in Stickney, as Phobos's long axis was permanently aligned toward Mars, with the big crater always pointed away. Arcady and John stood in Semenov, looking up through the dome at Mars, which filled half the sky and was shrouded by its dust clouds, all its features obscured. "The great storm," Arcady said. "Sax must be going mad." "No," John said. "A thing of the moment," he says. "A glitch." Arcady hooted. Already the two of them had fallen back into their old, easy camaraderie. The feelings that they were equals. Brothers from way back. Arkady is the bro that John deserved, not Frank. Too bad he's Russian. And John's American. They bonded heavily on the Aries, and that was a really cute moment. I forgot about that. Because John, every time someone talks to John, John's just like, tell me more. I love it. But he did that for Arkady too, even when nobody else thought it was cool. Already the two of them had fallen back into their old, easy camaraderie. The feeling that they were equals, brothers from way back. Arkady was the same as ever, laughing, joking, a great kidder, ideas and opinions flooding out of him, confident in a way John enjoyed immensely. Even now, when he wasn't sure many of Arkady's ideas were wrong and even dangerous. Oh, when he was sure many of Arkady's ideas were wrong or even dangerous. He only thinks that because everyone else has been saying that for like 20 years. John is such a fucking lib. Anyways, I don't know. I haven't seen Arkady in 20 years via the book, so we'll see what Arkady does. But John's an idiot. And he's literally like those people who just like if you were to describe communism or socialism without using the words, they would just be like, I love that. But then they spend the rest of the time just saying like, I don't really think that's totally correct. No, I think John's talked to Arkady before now. It's the first time for us. We're trying to figure out where we left off. Confident in a way that John enjoyed immensely, even now, when he was sure many of Arkady's ideas were wrong and even dangerous. Sachs is probably right, in fact, Arkady said. If those aging treatments work, and we are living decades longer than previously, it will certainly cause a social revolution. Shortness of life was a primary force in the shortness of life was a primary force in the permanence of institutions. Strange though it is to say it. But it is so much easier to hold on to whatever short-term survival scheme you have, rather than risking it all on a new plan that might not work. No matter how destructive your short-term plan might be for the following generations. Let them deal with it, you know? And really, to give them their due, by the time people learned the system, they were old and dying. And for the next generation, it was all there, massive and entrenched, and having to be learned all over again. But look, if you learn it, and you stare at it for 50 more years, you will eventually be saying, why not make this more rational? Why not make it closer to our heart's desire? What's stopping us? Maybe that's why things are getting so strange down there, John said. But somehow I don't think these people are taking the long view. He gave Arcady a quick account of the sabotage situation, and ending it by saying boldly, "Do you know who's doing it, Arcady? Are you involved? Are you involved?" "What, me? No, John. You know better. You know me better than that. These destructions are stupid. The work of Reds from the look of it, and I am no Red. I don't know exactly who is doing it. Probably Anne does. Have you asked her?" "She says she doesn't know." Arcady cackled. "Still my same John Boone. I love it. Look here, my friend. I will tell you why these things are happening, and then you can work at it systematically, and perhaps see more. Here's the subway to Stickney. Come on. I want to show you the Infinity Vault. It's a really nice piece of work." He led John to the little subway car, and they floated down a tunnel He led John to a little subway car, and they floated down a tunnel to near the center of Phobos, where the car stopped and they got out. They pushed across the narrow room and pulled themselves down a hall. John noted that his body had adjusted to the weightlessness, that he could float and keep his trim again. Arcady led him into an expansive open gallery, which on first glance appeared to be too large to be contained inside of Phobos. Floor, wall, and ceiling were paneled in faceted mirrors, and each round slab of polished magnesium had been angled so that anyone in its microgravity space was reflected in thousands of infinite regresses. So it'd be a terrible place to trip on LSD in. Or a great one. Keep his trim again mean? I would just assume keep his balance. Or keep his heading even, because like balance is even a little bit incorrect for 0G. Like, I don't know. Is it reference to trim when flying an airplane? Probably. Actually, though. That sounds relevant. Each round slab of polished magnesium had been angled so that anyone in its microgravity space was reflected in thousands of infinite regresses. They touched down on the floor and hooked their toes through rings, floating like sea bottom plants in a shifting crowd of Arcadies and Johns. "You see, John, the economic basis of life on Mars is now changing," Arcady said. "No, don't you dare scoff. So far, we have not been living in a money economy. That's the way scientific stations are. It's like winning a prize that frees you from the economic wheel. We won that prize, and so did a lot of others. And we've all been here for years now, living that way. But now more people are flooding onto Mars, thousands of them. And many of them plan to work here, make some money, and return to Earth. They work for the transnationals that have gotten Unoma concessions. The letter of the Mars Treaty is being kept because supposedly Unoma is in charge of it all. But the spirit of the treaty is being broken left and right by the UN itself. I believe it means the plane is level, that the left and right wing have no tilt or offset. That's perfect. The letter of the Mars Treaty is being kept because supposedly Unoma is in charge of it all, but the spirit of the treaty is being broken left and right by the UN itself. John was nodding. Yes, I've seen that. Yes, I've seen that. Helmut told me about it right to my face. Helmut is a snail. But listen, when the treaty renewal comes up, they will change the letter of the law to match the new spirit. Or even give themselves license to do more. It's the discovery of strategic metals and all the open space. These represent salvation to a lot of countries down there. And new territory for transnationals. And do you think they'll have enough support to change the treaty? Millions of Arcades stared bug-eyed at millions of Johns. Don't be so naive. Of course they have enough support. Look, the Mars Treaty is based on the old Outer Space Treaty. That was the first mistake, because the Outer Space Treaty was in fact a very fragile arrangement, and so the Mars Treaty is too. According to the treaty's own provisions, countries can become voting members of the Treaty Council by establishing interest here, which is why we're seeing all the new national scientific stations. The Arab League, Nigeria, Indonesia, Azania, Brazil, India, and China, and all the rest. And quite a few of these new countries are becoming treaty members specifically with the intent to break the treaty at renewal time. They want to open up Mars to individual governments outside UN control. And the transnationals are using flag of convenience countries like Singapore and the Seychelles and Moldavia to try to open Mars to private settlement, ruled by corporations. Oh, it's exactly like sea mining. Or sort of. It's going to become sea mining. It's not like sea mining. It's actually more like Antarctica. But yeah, deep sea especially. Oh. Oh my. Elma, thank you for $5. Okay. The transnationals are using flag of convenience countries to try to open Mars to private settlement, ruled by corporations. The renewal is still a few years off, John said. 1,000,000 Arcades rolled their eyes. Oh my god, I feel seen. It's happening now. Not just in talk, but in what's happening day to day down there. When we first arrived, and for 20 years after that, Mars was like Antarctica. But even purer. I did not read ahead, okay? Listen, like I said, I feel seen. A million Arcades rolled their eyes. It's happening now, not just in talk, but in what's happening day to day down there. When we first arrived, and for 20 years after that, Mars was like Antarctica, but even purer. We were outside the world. We didn't even own things. Some clothes, a lectern, that was it. Now you know what I think, John. This arrangement resembles the prehistoric way to live, and it therefore feels right to us, because our brains recognize it from 3 million years of practicing it. In essence, our brains grew into their current configuration in response to the realities of that life. So as a result, people grow powerfully attached to that kind of life when they get the chance to live it. It allows you to concentrate your attention on the real work, which means everything that is done to stay alive, or make things, or to satisfy one's curiosity, or play. That is utopia, John. Especially for primitives and scientists. Which is to say, everybody. So, a scientific research station is actually a little model of prehistoric utopia, carved out of transnational money economy by clever primates who want to live well. Carved out of a transnational money economy. You'd think everyone would join, John said. Yes, and they might. But it isn't being offered to them. And that means it wasn't a true utopia. We clever primate scientists were willing to carve out islands for ourselves, rather than work to create such conditions for everyone. And so in reality, the islands are part of the transnational order. They are paid for. They are never truly free. There is never a case of truly pure research. Because the people who pay for the scientist islands will eventually want a return on their investment. And now we are entering that time. A return is being demanded for our island. We were not doing pure research, you see, but applied research. And with the discovery of strategic metals, the application has become clear. And so it all comes back. And we have a return of ownership and prices and wages. The whole profit system. The little scientific station is being turned into a mine. I literally said that, you guys. Don't ever say that I don't comprehend my reading, because my reading comprehension is through the roof. I didn't see anybody else in chat saying the shit I said. Okay, I said it's like sea mining. That's what they want to turn it into. I literally did not read ahead. And I said it's actually more like Antarctica, but they want to turn it into a mine. And then that's literally what the book says. Oh God. Arkady's gonna die too. Like, he's too good. I can't wait to find out how, though. The little scientific station is being turned into a mine. With the usual mining attitude toward the land over the treasure. And with the usual mining attitude toward the land over the treasure. And the scientists are being asked, what you do? How much is it worth? They are being asked to do their work for pay. And the profit of their work is to be given to the owners of the businesses they are suddenly working for. I don't work for anyone, John said. Well, but you... I don't work for anyone, John said. Well, but you work on the terraforming project. And who pays for that? John tried out Sax's answer. The sun. Arkady hooted. Wrong. It's not just the sun and some robots. It's human time, a lot of it. And those humans have to eat, and so on. And so someone is providing for them, for us. Because we have not bothered to set up life where we provide for ourselves. John frowned. Well, in the beginning, we had to have the help. That was billions of dollars of equipment flown up here. Lots of work time, like you say. I know, I fucking love that answer. I thought they were never gonna bring that answer back. I really enjoyed Sax's answer of the sun. He's such a lab rat in a trench coat. I thought they were never gonna bring that answer up again. Or, well, eventually, but you know what I mean. It's the fucking sun. But it was a really cool answer for Sax to John. And I love that John tried using it in a debate with someone else. He's like, the sun. I think it's the sun. Gotta play that sun card. It's a good one. Ignore Arkady's cackling. It's not just the sun. And some robots. It's human time, a lot of it. And those humans have to eat and so on. Because we have not bothered to... Someone is providing for them because we have not set up a life where we provide for ourselves. John frowned. Well, in the beginning we had to have help. That was billions of dollars of equipment flown up here. Lots of work time, like you say. Yes, it's true. But once we arrived, we could have focused all our efforts on making ourselves self-sufficient and independent, and then paid them back and been done with it. But we didn't. And now the loan sharks are here. Look, back in the beginning, if someone were to ask us, Who made more money? You or me? It would have been impossible to say, right? Right. A meaningless question. But now you ask. And we have to confer. Do you consult for anybody? Nobody. Me neither. But Phyllis consults for Amex. And Subaru. Or Subarashi. Sorry, not Subaru. Subarashi. And Armscore. And Frank consults for Honeywell. Oh my god. Why are they doing this to me? I thought I would recognize these names. Phyllis, I don't consult for anybody, you don't consult for anybody. But Phyllis consults for Amex and Subarashi and Armscore. It's pronounced Honeywell Messerschmitt. Thank you. And Frank consults for Honeywell Messerschmitt and GE and Boeing and Subarashi. Oh my god, Frank totally would. That is so Frank. I love it. 2027, or wait, no, it's 20, fuck. It's been so long. They landed on Mars in 2027, so it's like 2060, 2056. Um... 2048. Anyways, he works. Frank consults for Honeywell Messerschmitt and GE and Boeing and Subarashi, and so on. They are richer than us, and in this system, richer is more powerful. We'll just see about that, John thought. Okay, I'm over the sad rendition, Roar said, where I'm supposed to be upset that John didn't get to live out his vision. This is a comedy. John was begging for it. We'll just see about that. It's okay, I'm crying and laughing at the same time. John Wayne don't lose to no corporation. John is hilarious. I can't even handle this section. Oh my god, I didn't read ahead. I did. This is why I love reading. I feel like I'm having a little party here. We'll just see about that, John thought. But he didn't want to make Arkady laugh again. So he didn't say it. I have to pee. I'll be right back.